hail, everyone. All hail. Praise God. First, want to give honor to God and thank Him for being in my life and blessing me and keeping me each and every day. I'm just so grateful for that knowledge and for the relationship that I have with Him since a young boy up until my adulthood. I'm just so grateful for that, and I thank God for that. Acknowledging our executive officer, Bishop Hendricks, also our other bishop, Bishop Henson, all the ministerial body, all the daughters of Jerusalem, sisters of mercy, and sons of God's prophet. I say all hail, and I greet you in the spirit of love. I've just enjoyed all of the presentations so far, and they all have been connected in some way, and that's just got to be divine order. And I'm just so grateful for that. Before I get started, I wanted to first thank the VOP. This group that I have been fortunate to work with, I love them dearly. One, they put up with me, they tolerate me, and my need to have monthly meetings, and my emails constantly reminding them of our meetings, and they all comply and they do meet with me because one, I feel that this is a ministry, and I think it's so important that we meet continuously to one, keep the juices flowing, keep our minds active, keep us connected, as I believe Chief said the other night. So it's important that I feel that we do that because we are a ministry. So, but I'm very grateful to them. Each one of them brings something to the table. They're all very, very important. And I just want to let them know I love them and I appreciate them and could do none of this without any of you. So, hats off to VOP. So I just wanted to thank everybody. It's a part of that ministry. So, okay, all right, well, I'm going to try to share my screen. We're going to talk about code of ethics this evening, which is, I'm going to explain it, but I want us to understand and be able to really, really delve into what it's all about. This really is hopefully going to be a help to kind of keep us all on the same page, to keep us all connected, to keep us all moving in the same direction. So without further ado, I'm going to try to share my screen and see what we got here. Let's see. All right, we've got code of ethics here. Okay, being a church where all people matter. Code of ethics. Church of God and Saints of Christ, Joshua generation. For those who don't know, we do have a mission statement. Mission statement is that the Church of God and Saints of Christ is a Christ-centered ministry established to evangelize the lost soul, equip and empower the believer, and exalt our God and His Son, Jesus Christ. That's what we're all about. That's our mission statement. So for those who may not have been aware that we have one, here it is. Okay. Now let's look at ethics as how it's defined. Well, it's a system of moral principles according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary. Another definition is the discipline concerned with what is morally good and bad and morally right and wrong, also known as moral philosophy, according to Britannica. So we have two definitions of ethics. Code of ethics versus code of conduct. And there is a difference, and here it is. A code of ethics is broader in its nature. It outlines what is acceptable for the organization in terms of integrity and how it operates. Whereas a code of conduct is more focused in nature because it instructs how an organization's members should act daily and in specific situations. And I want to explain it this way. In the military, you have a general and you have colonel. Both of them have a different code of conduct. When that general walks into a room, that corporal has to do what? Salute him, because that's his code of conduct, the way he is to act in his specific situation and his role. They both share a code of ethics because both of them represent the nature of their organization, the military in which they reside and provide. Does that make sense? Hopefully it kind of sheds a difference between code of ethics and a code of conduct. This is going to be an interactive lesson this evening, and I'm going to need your input. I have a scenario here about telling the truth. Now, we all tell the truth, right? Is that right? Fair statement? Okay. All right. Here's the scenario. Stay with me, people. All right. As a supervisor, one of your employees has just been diagnosed with a treatable form of cancer. He has confided in you about the status of his health. He has also asked you not to say a word to anyone because he considers his health to be a personal matter. Now, over the next few months, this employee is frequently absent due to his radiation treatments. His absences are not a major problem for the company because he is able to work from home. But some of your other employees have asked, what's wrong with him? You politely decline to discuss his situation. As a result, the other employees think that their coworker is getting special treatment and are ready to go to your boss to complain. Now, you're confident that if they only knew of the employee's illness, they would understand. But you promised him not to reveal the reason for his absence. Now, because some employees perceive this as special treatment, it's causing a lot of friction for you in the workplace. Now, if the other employees go to the boss, meaning your boss, to complain about him, it will cause unnecessary problems. Now, should you reveal to your fellow employees the reason for the co-worker's absence? Does anybody feel that that should happen? You can just take yourself off mute and you can just give your answer. Do you feel that this supervisor or you as a supervisor should just reveal to the co-workers why he's not at work, because it would save a lot of stress, it would make everybody understand, and it would kind of alleviate a lot of tension that's going on in the workplace?
No,
So
I don't think you should say anything.
Okay, you should not? Okay.
No, you should not. That's not their business.
Okay. Okay.
You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? He asked him to be, keep confidence, right?
Absolutely.
And that confidence is a big thing.
Code of confidence.
There ain't no confidence. You're gonna go tell somebody else's business and they asked you not to.
Okay. All right. Anybody else?
I don't appreciate that.
Now, understand that, this is you as a supervisor. You're getting a lot of flack from your other co-workers because they can't understand, why does he get to work from home? And I got to get up every morning, get in my car and drive to the office, and he's working from home.
It's none of their business.
Oh, hell, this is Elder Brown.
Elder Brown, yes, sir.
Sir.
Yes.
Oh, sir. Oh.
Hold on 1 second. 1 second. One at a time. All right. I'm gonna put everybody on mute. Just if you can just go down below and just raise the hand or type in the chat, then you can go.
Okay, is anybody? I think I see a hand. Thank Victoria.
I agree with Granlia. I don't think it's any of the employee's business where the other employee is. That person has rights, and I don't think that just they feel like he's getting special treatment, they should cause an uproar, and it shouldn't cause unnecessary problems if the supervisor were to, well, first of all, they shouldn't be saying anything. You should mind your business, first of all. Yeah, I don't agree with that, no.
Okay, now, so if you ask you're the supervisor, everybody's going to be in a position of the supervisor. So if another coworker says, well, can I work from home? Why can't I work from home? If he's working, then I'm gonna work from home too. Then what do you do?
Well, I would tell, are you asking me?
I'm asking whoever wants, yes, you have the floor, you certainly can answer, but yeah.
I'll give the floor to someone else.
Someone else? This is causing problems in the workplace.
Well, this scenario, all hail everyone, this scenario actually happened to me where someone did have cancer. And so as me being the senior math teacher, I was in charge of all the math teachers. And so, you know, the math teacher came to me, she said, listen, Sam, you know, I'm gonna be out, I have to have the surgery, they're removing polyps, this due to the cancer and blah, blah, blah. So immediately I went into, okay, so this is how we're gonna work this. We're not gonna call in a sub, no outsiders. We're gonna handle your kids. We're gonna handle your class in terms of math. We're gonna work with the language arts teachers. So the question did come up. Well, you know, she's got all these days off and you know what's going on here.
Okay.
Ask HR.
Okay.
That's not me for me to tell, but I was given authority to split the timing among the math teachers so that her children, her students would not get lost. Okay, just because she's not here. Yes, it caused confusion, and some employees, some math teachers were given the option. If you want to donate your time, you can. If you don't, that's fine.
Okay, so thank you for sharing that. However, in this situation, how do you keep the other coworkers under control? Because they are upset that they are not able to work from home, and this one worker is, and nobody's telling them why he's getting special treatment, and it's causing a problem. Morale is going way, way down, and you're the supervisor. So let me ask this question. Okay, supervisor, should you go to your boss and explain to him what's going on and give him the heads up and say, you may have other coworkers that are going to be coming to you complaining about the decision I've made to let this worker work from home. So let me give you a heads up. So he at least tell his boss about the situation.
Well, Paul, I just wanted to acknowledge St. Regina had her hand up as well. So you can go.
Yes, sorry, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
All hail. I was just gonna say, having been a supervisor, one of the things that we're not taking into consideration is HIPAA does not allow us to discuss people's medical history. So that being the case, most people are not gonna ask, though you might have, in my case, I had employees that would sometimes allow you to share so that others could reach out to them, be of help to them, what have you, but HIPAA does not allow that. You can't just share people's information, and stuff that's told in confidence to a supervisor, whether it's a health issue or something else, should be honored.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, just have time, maybe one or two more. Does anybody else want to chime in on this, on what this supervisor should do? Because he has an ethical dilemma. On one hand, he wants to remain, true to the employee that shared this information, but he has a whole team that is really, really giving him a hard time about his special treatment, at least in their eyes, this one employee.
I don't know how to raise my hand.
Grandfather Abraham, I see your hand up.
Father Abraham, you have.
Okay, now, this is Graham Rachel.
I'm sorry, I couldn't see it. Okay.
Hold on one second. The first person that's going to speak is Saint Talisha, and then followed by Grandfather Abraham. All right.
Thank you.
That order.
Thank you, sir.
All hail, everyone. I just wanted to say, as a supervisor myself, it is my responsibility to manage the expectations of my team. So I kind of had that kind of situation. One of my team members had a personal issue that they needed to be able to be flexible and work from home. And I just explained to my team that, their coworker is going through something and they need to more flexibility, and that it's something I would do for any of them in that situation, which seemed to settle some of the complaints that were coming up initially about the fairness or
Just make
unfairness
sure
of it.
Unmuted. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Alicia, were you finished?
I thought someone was
Go ahead.
trying to say
Finish.
something. But yeah, basically you need to manage the expectations of your team to let them know that, yeah, we might have to work around and help each other out, but this person is doing, I'm allowing this person to do something that I would allow any of them to do in the same situation. If you're clear about the level of fairness and you follow it up with your actions, you should be able to manage the expectations and morale of your team.
Thank you. Thank you. Grandfather
Okay.
This is Graham Rachel.
Oh, Graham Rachel. Okay.
Yes. All hello, everyone. Having been a supervisor myself, before I would say anything, even to my boss, I would go to the individual and ask the individual, is it okay if I share your information with my boss? And then if any of the other employees went to my boss would already be apprised of the situation. And then I would tell the other employees they have a problem. The only thing you can do is send pleasant thoughts to them, and I have it under control. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Okay. Now, does anybody feel that either your boss should be told or the coworker should be told? Does anybody feel that there should be something said to either your boss or your coworkers? Or everybody feels that nothing should be said? Okay.
We have Mary Wilcox who has her hand up as well.
Okay.
All hail saints. I feel like I've been a supervisor, manager, whatever, and I've also been a coworker who a supervisor had this issue, and I learned that through discernment. And the other coworkers were going crazy. Why? Where is she at? Why is anyone telling us? And her best friend was our manager. So I feel like what you should do as a supervisor is go to your supervisor. It's a thing called covering your behind. You go to your supervisor and give her general information, she or he, general information. You don't divulge details. Go to your supervisor or your manager and say, this particular employee is having an issue. I have, like Graham Rachel said, given liberties based on what the situation is. And that does it. And as she also said, I'm managing the situation towards the other coworkers. I'm managing the situation. And if that's not enough, then, you know, you have to go further with those other coworkers.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right. All right. Well, we have one more scenario before we get back into our code of ethics presentation. But I thank everybody for that, for your answers for that, your honest answers. So I got one more for you, a little differently. We'll see how you react to this one. This is regarding reporting an accident. Here we go. Now, some of us have been involved in a situation where we scratch another car on the way out of a tight spot in a parking area. Now, the ethical question is whether to inform the owner of the car, and if so, how do you do it? Now, these incidents create ethical dilemmas because the way we deal with them says a lot about our character and whether we act in our own interest or in the interest of others. Now, consider the following facts. You pulled out of a tight space in a parking lot and dented the car next to you. You look around, and you're quite sure that nobody saw you. Ignoring the situation may be the easiest solution, but is it the most ethically appropriate? Do you leave the scene to avoid the hassle of reporting the incident because you're concerned your insurance may go up? Or do you seek the best way to inform the owner of the vehicle? What would you do? Nobody was injured. You're getting out of a parking spot. And you hit the car, okay, little dent, little scratch, nothing major. Nobody's seen it. So, hey, you're gonna go on your own merry way. Or do you leave your contact information on the windshield for any and anybody that might come by, pick it up and get it, and then they have your contact information? What do you do?
Father Abraham, you have 2 questions. The first question is coming from Deacon Joel Davis.
Okay.
Second is St. Victoria Barrow.
Okay, Deacon Davis, what would you do?
I'm laughing because y'all saying Deacon Davis. Sorry, it's Irene, St. Irene.
St. Irene, okay. Well, what would you do?
So
What are you doing?
for me, this is a situation of do not do unto others what you do not want undone to you. I am very particular about that kind of thing. It actually happened to me. And I was actually in a grocery store, and the lady literally stood there in the parking lot waiting for me to come out the grocery store. And I just can't even begin to tell you how much I appreciated that. So I think it kind of depends on where you might be, because you could be in a place where you just don't know when the person's gonna come back. Probably because it was in a grocery store, she figured I would be coming out sooner or later. But if it was me, I would wait if I felt like it was a place that a person might be coming back, because I would want them to know that I, didn't intentionally do it. I would want to give my insurance information. If not, I would definitely leave my information, my name and number on their windshield if I was able to.
Thank you. St. Victoria?
This actually happened to me twice, hence the reason why my insurance is so high. The first time, actually, I was driving without a license. I kind of left a note and left to go deal with St. Carolyn, because I knew that was like more that I really didn't want to deal with. But she actually sent me back to the area of which I did get in trouble for, and then I actually did it again when I got my license, and this time I didn't leave. And I just shared my insurance information, waited for the person to come out of the store.
Okay. All right, great. Anybody else? What would you do? Now we're talking about a little scratch. We're not talking about a busted tail light or, a major dent. We're talking about, it's a tight spot. You're getting out a little scratch, little, What do you do? Anybody else? Would anybody just leave and say, hey, it's be honest. Would you just say, hey, it's not a big deal, I'm just gonna go, because if not, I gotta get my insurance. My insurance is may go up. It's just gonna be a pain in the neck. I'm being late for my appointment. I don't wanna leave my information just for anybody to get it. So anybody?
That's a good question, Father Abraham. My wife gets angry with me many times because I park at the end of the parking lot, so I can avoid these situations. But I think it's important for us to be honest.
I agree.
At all cost.
So nobody on this Zoom line is telling me that they would just leave. Nobody would do that. Let me look at some of these faces on here. Let's see. St. Charisse, was that your hand up?
Yes, it was me.
Okay, Mother Sarah. Yes, ma'am. What you got?
If it was a little scratch,
Yeah.
I might just leave. It's been done to me. I'm not saying it's right, but I might just leave.
Okay, I appreciate your honesty. Thank you so much. I think I see Evangelist Hayes.
So this is before I got saved. And God turned my life around.
Okay. Hashtag this is us.
Hashtag. But to be honest, I have left the scene. I have not left my information. I would not do that today. But I have been that person.
Okay.
That would leave the scene.
Okay. I appreciate that. Before I ask the next question, is anybody else want to share some honesty?
Hey, Father Abraham, we just want to make a comment. Just again, for those wanting to know how to raise your hand, there's a reaction at the bottom of your screen. And then once you hit there, it'll say raise hand. All right. Just for those that just jump in and mute, and because we want to make sure there's order in this meeting. Bishop has a question.
Okay, Bishop.
Father Abraham, it's First Lady. I think that if I didn't leave a mark, I'm with St. Sharice, I probably would leave the scene.
Thank you. Well, your honesty, I do appreciate that. Okay, now let me ask this question. Let's change the facts a little bit, okay? Is everybody with me? I'm gonna change the facts. Okay, imagine that you have young children in the car with you and they witness what you just did. Would that change how you handle this situation? Would you still leave the scene? Anybody? I see smiles, but nobody's saying anything. Would it change? I mean, maybe or maybe not. You now have some witnesses. You have children in the car with you. They see you do this. Okay, hit this car, scratch it, little scratch, nothing major, little, you know. Would you still leave, or would you provide your information? Nobody? Okay. I know if it's Deacon Davis or St. Irene, I'm not sure which one. Who is it?
I just want to be a witness, but Deacon Davis said.
All hail saints. Now, if we all being transparent, if I didn't leave a scratch and the child is under 5 years of age, yes, I'm leaving and I'm going about my business.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Well, we didn't give an age for the child, but okay. Anybody else? This is all part of what we're going to be talking about. It's all part of, code of ethics.
We have Assistant Chief Caution have a hand up.
Okay.
All hail saints. To be honest with you, I was on a Walmart parking lot some years ago, and an elderly gentleman, I saw when he hit my car because the car rocked.
You're on mute. You're on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry. I ran after him on the parking lot because I needed the tag number. So when I called Prince George's County Police, an officer came. I had called in the tag number to the operator that an incident had happened. They went to that man's house and made him come back to the Walmart parking lot. And it wasn't pretty for him and then I always look at things like this sometimes. If I do something, go out of my way, sneakingly, dishonestly to hurt someone else, I'm so afraid that the Lord may let something worse happen to me, whether I have children in the car or not. I think we should be a good example to children that are in our care. And so I don't like to do that. Like another saint said, I wouldn't want somebody to treat me that way. But I did call the police, elderly or not. He was He had a driver's license and he should not have done that. And I wanted to show him I was not the one. Okay, age or not. But anyway, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Okay, anyone else before we move on? Now, should it make a difference that your actions are impressionable on those that may have witnessed what happened? Does it make a difference on how you would respond or react to this particular situation? Ethically speaking, it shouldn't matter whether someone witnessed what you did or not. Is that pretty accurate? We should do the right thing? Okay. All right. Well, thank you for those that participated in that little couple of scenarios that I had. I do appreciate that. And we will continue to move on with the rest of the lesson. Okay. Core values. Now, for an organization to be successful, there are 5 things that a code of ethics must address. And certainly there could be more. We just pulled 5, but certainly there could be more. And the 5 we have listed is integrity, objectivity, competence, confidentiality, professional behavior. Okay, integrity. We must be trustworthy and always conscious of our organization's mission. We are to act honestly and responsibly. Objectivity. We must remain aware of our own prejudices. Remember, we had a lesson in Sabbath school before about what we bring to the table, our own prejudices. We have to always remain aware of our own prejudices and not allow external influences to affect our decisions or reactions to situations. Because, saints, it's not always what you say or do. You may react to a situation with a facial expression or some gesture that may cause somebody to feel you can no longer be objective to the situation based on how you just reacted to what you've heard. Does that make sense to everybody? Competence. We must understand the function of our auxiliaries within the church and how we can be most effective within that area. We should develop and enhance your gifts by engaging in ongoing educational opportunities to maintain and ensure we are utilizing the most effective methods. Our church is over 100 years old. There are things that were done 100 years ago that probably have to be maybe updated. We have to make sure that we stay in vogue on what's the most effective methods right now as far as drawing people in, keeping people here, and spreading the gospel. We have to make sure that we are using the most effective current methods to do those things. Confidentiality. We must respect the dignity and worth of individuals who confide intimate details of their life to us. Now, this may be in form of a testimony, or someone may come to you and confide information, as we saw in this scenario where the young man shared with his boss his medical condition. We may be privy to sometimes intimate details. We have to make sure that we respect the dignity and worth of individuals who may share these things with us. And of course, the only exceptions are when information received poses harm, threat, or danger to an individual or situation. Then we have to make sure that nothing bad happens. Outside of those situations, confidentiality is key. Professional behavior. We must recognize the importance of appropriate behaviors when building healthy relationships. We must engage people as partners in the helping process by communicating and respectfully being honest, with positive attitude, taking responsibility, helping others, and being reliable. Core values. Any questions on any of these core values? Integrity, objectivity, competence, confidentiality, professional behavior. Now, how do we apply our core values? Well, first we have to be inclusive. We have to welcome people of all backgrounds, everybody. We have to be considerate. Always take the consequences of our actions into account when making decisions. We have to be respectful. We may not always agree, and we won't always agree, but remember to respect other people's opinions. Choose your words carefully. Do not insult or put others down. Avoid harassing and exclusionary behavior. We are to embrace diversity because there is strength in diversity, which can help generate new ideas. Now, there are questions that we should ask ourselves when we're faced with ethical dilemmas, because it's going to happen. It just is, because we're human and we live in a world with humans, and things are just going to happen. So there are questions that we should ask ourselves whenever we're faced with ethical dilemmas. The first is, does my decision line up with my personal or organizational core values? The second, is my decision balanced? Have I considered all parties involved? Am I able to not let my decision sway based upon it being my cousin or my uncle or my grandmother? Is my decision balanced with any ethical dilemma that I am faced? How will my decision make me feel about myself? At the end of the day, we all have a conscience. There's a song that was sung by Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. At the end of the day, we've got to hold that mirror up and look at ourselves. Make sure that our decisions make us feel good about ourselves at the end of the day. Meeting the challenge. Now, we should consider when we encounter ethical decisions, the challenge is to gain awareness from the experience. Now, there are some things to consider when ethical decisions are involved. What is the lesson that I have received from this situation that makes me more knowledgeable for future encounters? You heard the saying, we should learn from our mistakes. Well, the same thing with ethical decisions that we are faced with. We should get some lesson from it that will help us move forward and be able to deal with future encounters similar to what we have already been through. The second one, how can I benefit from the circumstances that others might see as too impossible to overcome? There are benefits from being in situations that you have to make these ethical decisions. It helps us grow as Christians, as people. It just helps our morale overall. We have to make sure that we benefit from these circumstances and not see it as something that's impossible to overcome. With Christ, all things are possible. The third way of meeting the challenge, understand what special experience or expertise can I share to assist others that may face difficult decisions. We ought to use our gifts, our talents that we're blessed with. If we haven't identified our purpose, ask God to show us, what is it that I'm good at? How can I contribute? We all have something to bring to the table, all of us. We have to find out what that is and be willing to share it. Okay, code of ethics. This code of ethics is a guide and standard of practices, not only for leaders of the church, but for its membership as well. These ethical standards reflect the church's core value, as well as the two greatest commandments, which is to love God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love our neighbors as ourselves, according to Matthew chapter 22, verses 26 through 40. The code of ethics is a general standard of practices that supports the mission and core values of the church. Now, first off is responsibility to self. And the first one is we should seek to enhance your personal relationship with God through study, prayer, fasting, and worship. This is of utmost importance before reaching out to assist others. We have to make sure that we're equipped, that we have taken care of ourselves so that we can help others. This is a responsibility to yourself. The second, always follow God's lead when seeking out your gifts and talents. God will show you if you ask Him. He will direct you. He will send people in your life, but you have to put yourself in a position to receive those gifts and or talents. The third responsibility to self is to keep in the forefront your obligation to witness to others and to exalt God and His Son, Jesus Christ. That's what we're here for. That's what we're all about. Another responsibility to self. Remember that you have limitations. We should always be aware of our own physical, spiritual, and emotional needs. Self-care is important and renews energy for the work of your ministry. Number 5, keep in mind that when a need or question exceeds your capacity, you should not hesitate to look to others who may be able to assist. We don't always have the answers. Sometimes we have to reach down and ask others for help. Any questions before we move on? I know I'm going through a lot of this information, but I want just to kind of make sure that there's no questions before I move on. Okay. We also have responsibilities of the church to guests and fellow members. First, we should recognize that we are all made in God's image. We are to treat everyone with dignity, with respect, and care. Second responsibility to church guests and fellow members, we should always practice intercessory prayer for others. The Bible says the prayers of the righteous avail us much. This is what we should do for one another. The third thing is we should uphold confidentiality and remain faithful to the trust that people have placed in you. We are to recognize situations that require you to act, such as in the case of harm or threat of danger, an individual makes to himself, another individual or group. I keep stressing that because that is so important that we understand that certain circumstances and situations require a different course of action. Number 4, if a conflict arises, we should remain Christ-like in your actions and attitude towards others. Seek to resolve the issue and be willing to forgive or ask for forgiveness. These are code of ethics, people. 5, maintain awareness of appropriate physical boundaries. Do not engage in sexualizing, abusive, manipulative, or coercive behaviors, explicit or implied. We have to remain aware of these things, of what could be looked at something that's not appropriate. Always being aware of your physical boundaries. We also have responsibility to the community. The first is to respect everyone regardless of age, race, ethnicity, color, nationality, gender, sexual orientation, religion, disability, marital status, political belief, or any personal characteristic, attribute, condition, or status. That is our responsibility to the community to respect all of those factors that were just mentioned. The second, maintain a charitable and or loving attitude toward those who may be in need. 3, be an example and a light, always spreading the good news of Christ. Our responsibility to the community. Now, there's also responsibility of the ministry and those that are in leadership roles. We've listed 7, and there certainly may be more added to each one of these responsibilities, but these are the 7 that are being highlighted this evening. Well, the first is to preach, teach, defend, and represent Christ at all times. The second, seek to provide the most pleasurable experience for the congregation by always preparing, setting a love atmosphere, promoting unity, and serving with care and consideration. The third responsibility for ministry and those in leadership roles, remain trustworthy, inclusive, and respectful. 4, ask God's guidance in developing new ministries and ideas. Number 5, utilize gifts of individuals and their gifts and talents to assist in the work of the church's overall ministry. I think we see that happening now. Number 6, be aware of the comfort level of those you are leading. Always be aware of that. 7, always protect confidentiality, however, recognizing that exceptions occur when an individual poses harm or threat of danger to him or herself, another individual, or group. Responsibility of ministry and those in leadership roles. Now, here's the bottom line. How can a code of ethics benefit our church organization? We've outlined several codes of ethics. Understanding that a code of ethics, it is the guiding set of principles that's intended to instruct members to act in a manner that is honest and that is beneficial to all involved. Our code of ethics is drafted by the organization and tailored to our specific religious community. It is expected that all members, as representatives of the church, adhere to its guidelines. Having a written code of ethics fosters an atmosphere of accountability. It acts as a quick reference tool for new and prospective members. It guides us in living out the church's mission and supporting its core values. Church of God and Saints of Christ, Joshua Generation, mission statement: the Church of God and Saints of Christ is a Christ-centered ministry established to evangelize the lost soul, equip and empower the believer, and exalt our God and his Son, Jesus Christ.